So we want to talk about the money habits and beliefs that we've had growing up over time.
And fresh out of school, I will receive my salary, and by a week or 10 days after, my salary is finished. Good enough for me. At the time, my boss's wife was a financial coach. So one day I was talking to my friend about how I was broke as at maybe 10th of the month or 12th. And she said, Tonani, what did you just say? I said, I finished spending my salary. Right. And she said, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just know that my money is finished. And she said, you know what? Oh yeah, sit down. Let's think about how you spend your money. Let's even track how you're spending this money. What were you spending money on? So I'm not alone.
No, you're not alone.
And I'm sure that we
Usually,
have other
I'm
people who
not.
are listening who are like, oh, I feel like that's me right there.
Yeah, in fact, I normally would say that when salary comes in, we spend the lot. So it's like the money has finished before it comes in.
Yeah, we spend a lot. And
Okay.
so a typical example is my family has a car, right? And oftentimes I'm the one who uses the car. Now, we had another car that had been with the mechanic for a while. We just felt we keep spending money on this thing. Maybe we should just dispose this car, and also we had planned that we're going to dispose that car. Now, my partner decided to dispose that car, and he went ahead to buy a power bike. Yeah, my 6-year-old child is asking me about sex, but I think she's too young, so I didn't say anything. I just shut her up. When your 6-year-old daughter is asking you about sex and you shut her up, don't worry, she'll go figure it out by herself.
She's not just a financial educator, she's a powerhouse voice shaping the human capital conversations of our generation. Motolani Falabi Abe has been featured on some of the biggest TV platforms in the country, sharing her expertise on how to break free from destructive habits ruins families and help build lasting relationships. She stood on stages alongside global brands like Meta, training and inspiring audiences on business growth, financial planning, and personal development. She's consulted for entrepreneurs, professionals, and everyday people who want to take control of their money without losing their peace. From boardrooms to living rooms, TV screens to Instagram feeds, Motolani is proof that you can be financially wise, culturally grounded, and still live a life you love. Today, she's here on the FutureFunded podcast to help us tackle the real money struggles, the black tax, family pressures, and spending habits that keep us stuck, and show us how to finally break free. Motolani, welcome to the show.
So we want to talk about the money habits and beliefs that we've had growing up over time, and how it affects the way we spend money, the way we save. For example, myself, I grew from a background where my mom's an entrepreneur, my dad, was more of an entrepreneur himself, and then money sometimes coming in can be seasonal, and then it's not like you can plan, or I learned to plan savings on a consistent income flow. I've learned to plan provision based on the fact that God will provide, right? So taking that growing up, it can affect this deliberate intention where you are particular about money, you're particular about your investment, you're particular about savings. Rather, it's sort of like fusing into our impulse, where you just do impulse buying, or you buy. I mean, you can see someone like myself spend money on gadgets, and then you are left with zero naira in the
And you
bank.
broke the rest of the month.
Exactly. So I'm just thinking about how do we change this thinking and habits, particularly the fact that those of us that are here, we want to build more intentional habits concerning how we plan our finance, particularly as young adults.
Okay, so thinking about how do we change, I'm going to use myself as a practical example. So I grew up in a house where my mother was the entrepreneur in the house. She had businesses. My father was a civil servant. So I grew up to know that when daddy receives salary, he pays school fees, maybe save some for rent, and maybe give money for feeding, and then the money is finished. We have to wait till the next salary comes in. So I think that kind of helped me as a child then growing up to know that this money that daddy has given you for your upkeep for 1 month,
Yeah.
if you spend it anyhow and it is finished, daddy does not have capacity to give you another until the next salary comes in. So that kind of puts some level of cap into, or some consideration into how I spend at the time.
Yeah.
But the funniest part is my mom, who is the entrepreneur who doesn't have that consistent money, tends to be the one who always come when there's need for money. She just would say, "I will borrow you." Then when the time comes, your daddy will give me back. Oh, and I'm wondering how. So she had more of the saving habit. But fast forward to when I started working and fresh out of school,
Okay.
I will receive my salary, and by a week or 10 days after, my salary is finished. When you receive that salary, I'm going home. I could be very impulsive. I'm an
Yeah.
impulsive buyer. I see nice shoes and buying every food on the roadside attracting me. I see corn, I want to buy it. I see donuts, I want to buy. I see shawarma, I want to buy. I just keep buying, 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 buying without necessarily budgeting. There was no plan really. I was just trying to survive. Like, oh, I'm working, I'm fresh out of school, I have money. I felt like money was to buy whatever it is that I need.
Sustain your lifestyle.
Yes, sustain my lifestyle. There was no intentionality to what I could do with money, because maybe I didn't necessarily see it modeled to me. Maybe. But I just saw money as, when money comes, spend it on yourself to be okay. Anyways, the next money will come in, and then when it comes, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. If my father worked 25 years with the government and he survived, we always had something coming in at the end of the month. The same applies to you. I think that would work. But good enough for me. At the time, my boss's wife was a financial coach. So one day I was talking to my friend about how I was broke as at maybe 10th of the month or 12th. And she said, Tonani, what did you just say? I said, I finished spending my salary. Right. And she said, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just know that my money is finished. And she said, you know what? Oh, yeah, sit down. Let's think about how you spend your money. So when you receive your money, what did you buy? Then I started planning back. Okay, on my way home, I realized that I spent 50% of my salary within 48 hours after receiving the salary. Oh, now, until she made me do that,
Okay.
I was not even aware, or I didn't know how the money was going. So I couldn't account for it. I just knew that money was going. It was terrible. But that was my experience with
Okay. Yeah. The
money.
truth is, to be very fair with you, I've been there, and I think I might be there.
So I'm not alone.
No, you're not alone.
And I'm sure that we
Usually,
have other
I'm
people who
not.
are listening who are like, oh, I feel attacked. That's me right there.
Yeah. In fact, I normally would say that when salary comes in, we spend a lot. So it's like the money has finished before it comes in.
Yeah, we spend a lot.
Exactly. It's like gone. So knowing that exists now. So currently, when you, realize that there was a problem with that spending, how would you now advise that I know there's this thing about budgeting.
Yeah,
I did a spreadsheet where I now calculate my expense,
exactly.
income,
That
and I'm
was what
able
worked
to
for me.
discipline myself to say that okay,
Yes.
this part is for this part is. But I'll confess, for me though, I'm not sure it has really worked. But I have the sheet.
But you hardly use it.
Yeah, no, 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 but I use it to judge myself. That if I look at what you
So you will
planned,
still eventually spend the money.
yeah,
You just come back to judge yourself on it.
exactly, and look at the sheet and say, did you follow through with how you planned to say you wanted to spend this money? But
Do you maybe if you have a project that you need money to fund, that is also something that I found to work. Like I said, I usually would just spend that money. And one of the things she made me do was to, let's even track how you're spending this money. What were you spending money on? I have maybe about 22 days to go to work in a month. If in 24 hours I have spent 50% of my money to buy things, what do I have left for even tea fare? So by, let's say, 15th, 16th of the month, I'm begging my mom to say, mommy, please borrow me tea fare to go to work. And it's also because somebody is foiling my irresponsibility, because if I work, my money was enough for me to feed, maybe buy one or two things and cover my transportation. But because maybe at the back of my mind, I know that if that money is finished, I have maybe a dad or a
you can back
mom
up here.
who will fund. that that I think it's an
Yeah.
irresponsible act. But if I know that there's somebody who would fund it, I likely will go on with it. But what did I do differently? I started budgeting in terms of this is how much is coming in.
Okay.
At the end of the month, how much do I need between now when my salary is paid and when I will get the next one? How much will I need for TFA?
Okay.
Calculate it. Also include the days where the TFA is likely slightly higher, like what's the highest that I will be charged. So you had maybe like a bit extra. I'm a lady, maybe I need to make my hair, I need to buy sanitary towel, I need to buy data, I need to buy airtime. I do all of the calculation, then I see what I have left. Now that what I have left, I know that I didn't, in fact at the time, because I felt like the money I was earning was so small. There was no plan to say I have any project because the money is not even enough for me to even spend. But I realized that by breaking it down, now this money I'm talking about was 30,000 naira
Mhm.
at the time. you know,
Okay.
as an intern at the time, my salary was 30,000. But of course, things were not. I'm talking about like 10, 12, 11 years back. Things were, of course, were not this
Yeah.
expensive, and I could still live by it, but because I wasn't even tracking how I was spending the money. So what she had helped me to do is put this money aside. This is your TFA. Put it in an envelope. If you're going to make your air, this is how much you need. So I now know what I have left. So when I'm going home and I feel like taking shawarma, I look at myself and say, no, I can't afford this.
Okay.
However, if I needed to buy anything, I know that I have maybe feeding every day. Let's say it was 500 naira. I know that I cannot afford to buy. If I need to buy something cost me 2,500, it means I would not eat in the office for 5 days. For me to be able to accumulate that money, I used to buy what I wanted. So what I would do is take food from home.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
instead of waking up late and rushing to work and then going to work to buy food, forced to wake up early, cook my meal at home, take it to work so that I'm able to save 500 naira. Because I looked at what was most important in all the things that I needed to spend for a month. I think I need about 13,000 naira for tea fare
The
and
most
everything that
important
I
things.
needed important things. And I didn't do any impulsive buying. I was able to save 12,000 naira. I kept 2,000 for miscellaneous anything, maybe just want to treat myself. And I still had 10,000 naira to invest. And in 1 year, I've been able to do 120,000 naira. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. That's
It looks
interesting.
like small, but at the time, I'm like, what? Did I just do that? Because I now had planned to say, okay, so the person had asked me, my financial coach at the time, and she had asked me to say, so Tolani, what do you want to do with money? What would you like? I couldn't even think about anything. So that wouldn't you want to do masters or maybe there's a project, eyes to opportunities? I'm like, I think knowledge was what was lacking. I didn't know better, so I was spending the money as it
Okay, but
comes.
to add this, be thinking that sometimes they say women have it easy. That maybe there will be someone that will send you data, someone that will send you TFS. So the think that sort of like helped you somewhere at some point.
Well, like I said, I think that applies to me.
Yeah.
Um, for someone like me, also growing up, I've heard people talk about how when you're a pretty girl, you have to sleep your way up. I think I've heard that too much that I was irritated by it. Like, so because I'm or I'm beautiful, that can be all there is to me.
Yeah.
So a part of me just did not agree with that statement. So every day I was living to prove everybody wrong
Okay.
that I do not have to depend on somebody. So when I wouldn't want anybody to ask me as a lady what I'm bringing to the table because I want to own the table. So for someone who thinks like that, it
Okay.
was difficult for me to maybe I don't know if it was pride, but to now say, please give me
I get. I get.
no. But of course, like I said earlier, I also had my parents who I knew that I could always run to. So when you're having issues with managing your money, you also want to check, is there anybody around you who's following your responsibility when it comes to how you're managing your money?
Wow.
Knowing that regardless of what happens. So you work, you know that maybe at the end of 1 year I have to pay my rent, or you know that you would need certain things, but you
Yeah.
whichever way. So you might want to take a look at who are those people, and maybe pre-inform them ahead of time to say, you know what, you're probably a part of my problem. Please, when I come to you on certain this, but I hope that people are able to do that.
Okay, all right. So the next question is around black tax. So basically, black tax is the concept where diaspora people be sending money to home, and also maybe you have family obligations, like you have to support your family, you have to support your friends, that will come once in a while to be like quick,
Quick
urgent
funds,
money,
yeah,
quick one,
urgent
urgent
2K.
2K. So that part in those cultural expectations where you have to support, maybe people are not as privileged as you are, and also you need to still at the same
You
time
budget for them.
manage your finances. Okay.
I budget for them. So there's a percentage of my income that I put aside such. I know I would always have people who would quickly need 2K here, quickly need 10K here, quickly need. I have that aside. But I would not dip into my future to give to you because you're coming to me because you think I have. If I keep giving, we would all be broke in some. And when I now become broke, they will look for other people to go and collect money from. And my own, I'm just there. So one of the things that I do is I have a certain amount of money put aside. So anybody who is asking me for money, I take from that amount and I give you. So when people say borrow me, I'm like, oh, I don't borrow people money. You tell me, give me 10,000 naira, or borrow me 10,000 naira. I can't borrow you 10,000 naira. And if total money I have to give out is 20,000 naira, as much as possible, I already have an idea of the number of people who will likely reach out to me every month. Instead of giving you 10K, I could give you a 5K because that gives me opportunity to also give more people. However, if that money is exhausted. When people come to me, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't help right now. Maybe next month. That when I set apart that money, the next time your priority on my list doesn't mean I'll come and meet you and say, I now have money, come and ask me again. No, it's just that I'm aware that you're likely going to come back because I've given you a next month and I would have that cash available for you. However, it got to a point where I had two siblings in the university at the same time who the allowance is never enough for them, even though I feel like I don't know how you guys are spending that allowance, but I would have survived on that. And so what I did was other people who would reach out to me for money, I had to make it known to them. I'm so sorry. I now have two siblings in school who are like priority to me. I'm sorry. I would want to support maybe at their data or their airtime monthly and maybe some urgent auntie, please quickly, I want to buy this, that is yet to respond, so a bit of supporting my parents. So if ideally I would give you a 10K, what I will give
Yeah.
you now would probably be like a 5K because I have an obligation to my family, I have an obligation to my siblings, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't. However, I also try to look for opportunities for people. How else can you make money? I would, of course, as a business consultant, one of the things I also do is what business are you currently running? How can I help you, get it bigger? If maybe you have a product that you sell, how can I introduce you to more people who would buy from you so you're able to make money? But I don't feel bad for saying no. So one of the things I have done is when I have money or when I have any bulk money, I don't even have it sitting in my account. So when I tell you I don't have, it's not out of wickedness. I don't have it. Because as they come in, I already know what is going into fuel in my car. I already know what I need to maintain myself. I already know what is going into data, airtime, or my parents or my siblings. And I don't have extra cash because I have saved a large chunk of money that I have in my account. So when you come, it's either I'm giving you money for buying fuel, and when I give you my money to buy fuel, I should plan to jog to work. If I'm giving you my money for maybe data or well, I have internet at home, but then just little
Yeah.
expenses. Yeah. If I'm giving you that money, it means that I have an alternative to get that thing that I want.
Yeah.
So one of the things I also do is if someone really needs that cash and it's someone that I feel, oh, I'm led to help this person. Like I feel the pain. I would now deprive myself of certain things.
Okay.
From time to time, I like to take care of myself. I have special treats that I give myself when I've done a good job in the
Yeah.
week. I might just deprive myself of taking that thing and saying the money I'm supposed to use to give myself this treat, I would give to you. You know, you've heard people say, you said you don't have money and you're looking good. Looking good is part of the it's part of the money that I put aside. So
Yeah.
because I said I don't have money for you, it's because the money that I set aside to give to people is exhausted. But I have money to take care of me. Because I also hear people say, oh, I don't want people to say that I have told them I don't have money. And then I'm looking nice. I'm
Because
so
looking nice is
sorry.
also part of
I'm
your
so
job.
sorry. I will look nice. I will look nice
Yeah.
and I will not
You don't
give
apologize
out
for
no,
it.
no, no, I'm not going to apologize for that, because yes, I have set aside what I can give, and if it's exhausted, I'm sorry, it's
Yeah.
exhausted.
Thank you. So I think I hear that. So basically, even when you have to go out of your way,
Yeah.
there's a sacrifice being made
Of
somewhere.
course there's something that has to suffer, but I don't have
Something
the
has to
money sitting
give.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't means that if I had planned that, okay, I'm going to buy maybe a full tank that will last me maybe 2 weeks. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, it means that I would better plan. So maybe, oh, I'm going to church. There's somebody in my estate who will attend the same religious house. I could then say, okay, let me park my car and let me ride with this
You just
person
go
to
with the person to
save me
church. Yeah.
for there has to be some sacrifices that will go into that extra fund that I've given out. And if I
Yeah.
have to make a large purchase, like something that I didn't plan for, and maybe the opportunity showed up, and I
Yeah.
have to pay for it, it means that some other things would have to suffer for it.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
you have to make such sacrifices.
Yeah, and that question basically, because when it comes to the subject on investing, right,
Okay.
we're quick to think it's only financial. Now, I understand that's one of the things we are building this podcast around,
Okay.
financial education. All right, so on this side of investing, I just wanted to ask
Okay.
that, so without thinking about investing as only a financial decision, and you're going to advise maybe our audience, for example, on the kind of investing they should also prioritize at this time.
That is not financial.
Maybe not financial, not necessarily financial. What would it be?
Investing.
Okay.
Two sides of investing in you. One will be for your personal development. What skills do you have? It could be something that your hands can make. It could be skill that's it's mental, something that you can figure out, do better, faster.
Maybe creative thinking.
Yeah, something that is creative in nature. But just have something, invest in you. I remember for me, even while in school, a part of my allowance in school then was to books. Always buy books, read, because I'm a talker. I talk a lot. And the difference between my talking with somebody, some random talker out there, is the quality of information that I give when I talk. And that comes from the level or the content also taken in. I read every day. I had to pay for apps that allow me read. And good enough, technology has made it easy. There are lots of ebooks online right now.
Yeah.
Every time I'm driving to and fro work, at least I read one book every day. Some audiobooks about 2 hours. And I'm going to work maybe 45 minutes to drive or 30. I'm coming back. Every free I have my earpiece in and reading a book, an audio book. Yes, you might not grasp everything within the book, but then a large amount of content or a large amount of information you would have taken in. That is one. And then secondly, I think is a part of healing. I hear people say, "Oh, this is just who I am," and you're badly behaved, and then you say that that's who you are. I also think, personal opinion, guys, I also think it's an irresponsible statement to say that my bad behavior is who I am and I'm doing nothing about changing it. So you talk to people anyhow, or you're insulting, and people are, maybe pointed it out to you to
Yeah.
say, "Oh, what Jesus said? No, that's just who I am. That's how I talk." No, you're badly behaved. And you could as well say, "Oh, the environment I grew up in, or my background, that's how I was raised." You have a responsibility to yourself. You know, one of the things I say to myself is I do not want to be that adult that is broken. and begin, you know, hurting people hurt others,
Yeah.
that begins to pour out the pain that I am feeling on other people. They're not, they don't deserve to be the people who's on the receiving end of some trauma. See, living in Nigeria is traumatic already. And I think that every adult or every individual, is important that you begin to pay attention to the patterns. What are the behaviors that I have picked up, maybe from my environment, from my upbringing, or from any significant emotional experience that I have gone through, that I need to heal from? Very important. So that you don't go about behaving in a way that doesn't exactly represent you, the core of you, and then blame it on that's who I am or that's how I was raised.
It's probably a lazy way to think about it.
Yeah, that we all need to thrive, to want to be better. To say, for someone like me, typical example, I'm always ready to fight. Like, what's going on? Let's fight. You know,
Yeah.
always guiding. And I knew that it wasn't right. When people talk about emotional intelligence, oh, it's not me. I will tell you, you insult me, you give me trouble, I will give you good measure, press down, shaking together, and running over. I have energy. So it's such a bad behavior that everybody now knows, oh, she's crazy. Oh, no, don't go near her. She will give it to you, you know. And I remember I was in a class because I was very intentional about being a wholesome person. I don't want to be a damaged adult who's going about with baggages. So it's something we all need to intentionally work on. And we were asked to say, oh, how was your growing up and blah, blah, go back home, ask, you know, speak to your parents. And I asked my mom, and my mom said, oh, while you were growing up as a child, as a toddler, when you're in school, or maybe you're playing with your sibling, with other children outside, they will beat you, you will cry inside. And then she got worried. This girl, when I'm not there to defend you, is this how you're going to be crying all the time? So she said she will beat me and say, yeah, go back and beat your own. Now, my mom meant well. She wanted me to be able to defend myself. She didn't want other people to bully me. However, I had learned, and that's to all parents, sometimes while we're trying to teach our kids something, what other thing have we taught them that we didn't think that they would have picked up? She was trying to protect me. She wanted me to be able to stand up for myself and defend myself. However, unconsciously, she has also taught me that every time somebody hits me or does anything to me, I must revenge and do my own back. So I grew up being like that.
Wow.
You do me, I must do my own. You misplace my pen, you must buy another one. You know, I became like that as an adult. But I started probing back. How did I become like this? And when she told me that story, I'm like, thank you, mommy. You made me. You know, so intentionally, I had to now say, no, Tolani, you're not somebody, you should not always revenge. And I see this even in Christianity. I'm so sorry, I'm a Christian, where people say, oh, I'm a child of God, but you're battling with some of these things. They are some behavioral thing that your parents had probably, you know, groomed you to becoming. Mine meant well. She wanted me to be able to protect myself, but here I am, street fighter.
Okay, yeah, so I hear that. Investing
So
in
we
yourself.
need to invest in yourself when it comes to books, the things that you take in to help you think better, act better, you know, improve your skills, and also emotionally. Are you emotionally intelligent? Are you emotionally intelligent? That is a question that everybody needs to ask themselves before you now begin to say, okay, now I have some cash, let's invest it. And then we
Essentially
cannot talk about
investing in your character.
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
While you are investing in skills, also invest in character.
Well, thank you.
Then would you now invest in money?
Yeah, I get that. So I have this question that has been one of our community members asked this.
Okay.
So I think the person is concerned around money conversations with a family. Excuse me. With a family or maybe even a partner. So what kind of a strategy can you, or maybe a communication skill can you adopt in discussing maybe money problems that can potentially get into an argument where you are dealing with a problem and you're not seeing each other as a problem, but you're probably dealing with the issue rather than confronting the person?
Okay, so you're talking more on instead of attacking the person, attacking
Yeah,
your partner, while addressing the issue,
exactly.
which is the money issue.
Yeah, I think that's
So
what.
I think it would be good to first of all identify what the challenge is. Is it that one person likes to spend anyhow? When we say anyhow, if so, let me give a typical example. I apologize to my Mister. And
Okay.
so, a typical example is I my family has a car, right? And oftentimes I'm the one who uses the car. Now, we had another car that had been with the mechanic for a while. We just felt we keep spending money on this thing. Maybe we should just dispose this car, and also we had planned that we're going to dispose that car. Now, my partner decided to dispose that car, and he went ahead to buy a power bike. Now, to me, I felt like, why power bike? I knew he liked power bike, yes. And because of the nature of his job, it would help him move faster. Of course, and it's just something that he liked. In fact, he said he was going to take me on trips. I don't know if I want to go on those trips, but yeah, I like the idea, but I can't agree with him that I like the idea. But at the time, I'm saying that at the time, I would have wanted us to invest in something else. Because at that time we also had an opportunity for a property that was quite I wouldn't say cheap, that
Maybe it was an
was
opportunity.
an opportunity that I wanted us to take advantage of. For me, that's what I would have invested in. Now, thinking about at the time when I got to know that that was what he invested the money in, I was angry. I could have attacked him and say, "Oh no, you shouldn't have done that." And sincerely, I was, but I didn't say anything because when he came, he said, "Oh babe, I have a confession." I'm like, "What's the confession?" He said, "I bought a power bike." I'm like, you did what? But because he had already said, "I have a confession," I'm not allowed to get angry or explode. But thinking about it again, he made the right decision at the time. It's just that I would not have made that decision. So you want to take a look at what happened. We're looking, because we have different backgrounds.
Yeah.
We're looking at the same situation differently. He looked at it and said, "If I get this, my wife can have the car to herself all the time. I don't have to, or she doesn't have to be worried about how I go out and spending money on rides and all. This is just good." But at the time that I got that information, I was just a bit emotional about, oh, we could have done this. But if we have, gotten a property, it doesn't solve our transportation problem.
Yeah.
So you want to look, what is the issue exactly that we're dealing with? Is it that we're not making enough money for the family? Because every family should have a budget. We should have what's our family finance like? What are we spending every month? How much do we spend on feeding? How much do we spend on it? How much do we spend on fuel, maybe for car or for the generator? What are the basic needs? If we have maybe a housekeeper, security man, how much would all of this cost come to? If we have to maybe give allowance to our babies every day they go to school, how many days do they go to school? How much do we give them? You need to have that budget planned out. Now, the question would then be that based on what we both earn as partners, would they fund this? Also putting into also knowing that you probably want to, pay. I have offerings to pay. I want to pay tithe. It doesn't become a problem where the partner is asking, you gave your mother money or you gave your father money. No, it's already part of our family expenses. We already know that. So what we're doing is, how much are you making? How much am I making? What is the percentage of what we're both making that will go into the family account? And it's from that family account that we're able to solve some of the financial obligations that we have.
Okay.
So you earn 1 million, I earn maybe 500. What do we need? If we need, say, maybe we need a 350 to survive, how much should you bring from your 1 million? How much should I bring? What's the percentage of what I'm bringing from my own money? What goes into investment? We're planning for the want to buy another car. Maybe we're looking at let's buy our own house, or let's open an account or open an investment that will fund our children's university or secondary education, depending on the level where your kids are. You need to plan for that. It's not like when your child wants to enter university, then it comes to you as a shock. You say, how would this child go to university? If your child is in primary school, entering GSS 1, year 7, start planning how, because you have about 7 years now.
Yeah.
So I've seen recently a lot of kids graduated from nursery school to primary school, right? You have 6 years to plan for the secondary school that your child is going to. What would it cost? So it won't be that when your child is about to enter into that secondary school, when you're thinking, now I can't send my child to the school that I would really want my child to go to because there's no money. So the conversation should be, where are we?
And where are we going?
Where are we going? Based on what we need now, what are we earning? The challenge might not even be budgeting or planning. It might be that we need to maybe make more money.
Yeah, true.
Because if what we need to survive as a family is maybe 350K on an average, and we're both earning 250, we're eating into the future.
Yeah,
Because
true.
that 100K will come from somewhere. Because we will spend that money anyways. Maybe we've borrowed from somewhere. So you keep eating into the future. Before you know it, you're owing so much and you're wondering, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So the things that you probably need to, maybe keep buying, something is fault in the house, family should have such funds where you didn't plan that your AC will stop working. Emergency funds, you should have it. Does anybody ever plan that your AC will stop working? Do you ever plan that your child will probably climb on the chair one day and one arm of the leg, or part of the chair is broken and you have to fix it? Sometimes you don't know that the handle of your door is about to be out. You need emergency funds.
Or car problems.
Or somebody might just even fall ill and you don't have an HMO for the family. That's something that I actually would suggest that every family,
conversation they should have.
should have conversation around, because health is not, so that you don't start running up and down to say, we have health issues. If there is an HMO that takes care of that, a part of your problem is solved. So yes, I think the conversation should be about what exactly are we dealing with. If we're earning more money, would I have a problem with how he or she is spending money? Could it be that it is lack of the money that we didn't have that is bringing about the friction that we're currently experiencing? Yes. And if everybody knows that this is your portion of the money for the month, if you're done spending it, you will wait till. So even when you, like my partner, he is more into, is an entrepreneur. So sometimes they have this bulk money and I'm saying this money is business money. This is the percentage of the money that you have. If you finish spending this money, the rest of this money is business money, so that you don't get excited and say, I did a project that is worth this million. And so I'm suddenly, it's not you that is rich. The business is rich. The business pays you a certain amount of money from the business, so that you don't get too excited and go and start pricing.
Well, thank you. It's really been an insightful session. I wish we could keep you here longer, but then, you've talked about budgeting and planning and keeping priorities priority.
Oh, yes.
And so, based on our plan, I think we have come to the end of this session.
Yay!
And thank you very much for coming around and for the time. I know that these sessions are usually in tens of millions, with the big guys. But you made the time here to come around. I really appreciate it.
Thank
and
you.
I'll be looking forward to having you some other time.
No comment.
Thank you. All right, that's all. Thank you.